Hi, it's Claire, your intuitive reader. Am I reading your story? Let's find out. Today, and I've been meaning to talk about this for a long time, the story is about the truth. In this deck, it is this card. This is the truth card. See, sometimes the truth is really black and white. There is no way to have the truth and a little bit of a lie. It's like adding a drop of poison to the water. See these drops right here? There is no way to do that without poisoning all the water. Once you tell something that isn't true, the truth is no longer the truth. I found this really important to talk about today because this collective is so wonderful and people take advantage of that. Being nice is not working anymore because people are counting on, sorry, I'm sucking on a piece of Celtic salt. People are counting on your niceness. You're turning the other cheek. You're allowing little indiscretions or little things to go by because you want to be nice. And being nice is wonderful, don't get me wrong. I consider myself a very nice person. But when someone is not being nice to you, it's no longer a good idea to be nice. It muddies the water. It turns the truth into a lie. And so this is really important because if you think about it, if you're gardening and you've worked so hard and you have this beautiful garden and you have, all these crops that are coming, and then you see a little weed, you wouldn't let it grow. You wouldn't let it take over if you were getting invaded by animals and they were eating all your stuff like bugs and pests and, things. You wouldn't just be like, oh, it's just one, it's just two. Oh, they just ate, this vegetable or that vegetable or this fruit. Oh, it's just a little weed. Because we all know that weeds, when we're talking about them physically, they don't pop up immediately underneath. The weed is growing, it's spreading, it's choking out the water supply, it's choking out the roots of all the other plants. So we wouldn't let it just sit. But also, if you've ever weeded a garden, you cannot just pull off the top, the leaves, the visible part of the weed. You have to literally dig, twist, pull, excavate, get all of that weed out of your garden, or it will just anyway, it will grow, it will expand. So you have to remember that you have to get to the source of the problem. You have to remove all of the weed. And when I'm talking, and I'm being very figurative because we're talking about a story, but I'm talking about people. I'm talking about eating habits, drinking habits, substance habits, sleep habits. I am talking about the foundations of your life. If you're not going to let a weed grow and take root in your garden and choke out everything, you can't do that in any situation. You can't do that with anyone in your life. So really, really understand that the weeds, that you cannot have the truth and a lie, even a little lie. You cannot live in that way. It has a way of growing and growing into the point where it takes over. It has a life of its own. I mean, think about roses. If we had weeds that were choking them out, or the aphids got so bad, aphids are a bug that like to go on roses, and we were just like, oh, whatever, it's not that bad. That would take over like crazy. So think of yourself as that rose, that you're tending to it and making sure that nothing gets in the way of your growth. That is not selfish. And you know what? Maybe it's time for you guys to be a little bit selfish. I think you guys are so nice. You're coming to tarot readings, I think, to really find meaning, because everyone around you is narcissistic, and that word is used so frequently to not really, it's now been diluted. So the poison of narcissism, the poison of what these people really do to kind people, because they are attracted to empaths. And one kind of, there's a few kinds of narcissism that people don't really talk about. being a covert narcissist. A covert narcissist is not obvious. They're those people that everybody thinks are great and stuff, and behind the scenes they're doing really passive aggressive things. They're making your life a living hell, but you can't really pin it on what they're doing. You can't, nobody outside of their closed circle can see it. And so it's very important that you trust your instincts. You do not have to prove it to anyone. You don't have to get a diagnosis for someone else's behavior if it's impacting you, if it's that little bit of poison, if it's muddying your waters, if it's the weed in your garden. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to be nice to them. You don't have to talk to them. If they're family or friends, you do not have to continue to take what people are giving or saying about you just because they've conditioned you to not tell people what's going on, not tell the truth, not be a troublemaker. You guys in this collective are so wonderful, but these people are a pest. These people are an invasive species that are taking over, and they are trying to destroy empathy. So we have to stop being so nice, and we have to be like, no, that's not the way it is anymore. So that was a little talk about the truth. And the reason is because, so the first card you guys got when I was preparing for this is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is this charming energy. It's the knight in shining armor coming in, but it's also, to me, the truth. So something happened, like there's going to be a conversation, or it's already happened because these readings are timeless, and the truth is going to come to light. And it might be a Sagittarius that brings it in, or you might be a Sagittarius, but this fire energy, they're going to bring something in kind of innocently. The night, it's a night, but I'm getting this kind of like almost by accident. They're going to disclose something to you that is going to fundamentally change the way you see certain people in your life and certain situations in your life. You've been playing nice, but people have been talking about you behind your back. They have been filling your garden, this beautiful garden you've been working on it. You're like, wow, look at what I'm creating. And they are poisoning it. They are sending in monitoring spirits. They are, and sometimes that can just be like, viewing you online. These are just metaphysical ways of talking about things that happen in the 3D world. Gossiping, spell work. That's what witchcraft is. It's gossiping. It's cursing your name. It's spreading lies. It's wrecking your reputation. And so these people are doing this because they gain something out of it. That's what covert narcissists do. They don't just come out and say, like, I'm selfish. They show it by feeling sorry for themselves. Envy is a huge one I've been getting, like here with this fire energy, this envious feeling. If you get that around someone, or someone comes into your, the first time somebody tells you who they are, I really want you guys to start listening. You do not have to give people another chance. Like, reread everything, but that means also read the room, read the person. Like, when you're not around them, maybe you meet somebody and you take a little break and you're like, I don't like this feeling. I don't like what this is bringing. Trust that. You do not owe anyone anything. Okay, so that's coming in. And then what showed up right behind that was the Seven of Swords, which is about someone taking something, deception. This could be your ideas. This could be your reputation, like I was talking about. And this is, these two cards came out together, the Six of Pentacles. This is about your generosity. So you're this generous, caring person, giving, your whole life being about others. And this could be as simple as your community, your church, your friends, your family. But you're that kind of person that's like, oh, here, I don't have much, but you're welcome to share it with me, because she's sharing a bone. And these dogs are like, oh yeah, what you can share, everything you share is very valuable. The Six of Pentacles here, that's, about like I was saying, generosity. And they're saying things behind your back. They're taking your reputation. They're doing things because they see your generosity, your kindness as an attack. because maybe they, maybe they have never really been that kind, or the kind of person you thought they were. Maybe they were always deceiving you, and you just thought they were because you are a generous, open person, and you open up your window and you're like sharing with everyone because you think that life is about sharing. And like, this reminds me of old Mother Hubbard went to her cupboard, and then it was bone, but she gave it was bare, but then she gave the dogs a bone. And like, you will share the very last thing you have. You don't consider the information you have. You don't consider the wealth you have. You don't consider anything just yours. You want to share it with others. Like, why do you need so much extra? I mean, wouldn't it be nice to share it with those around you? So like, this reminds me of that. Like, so they're talking about you behind your back, kind of wrecking your reputation, and keeping, they're trying to keep you showing up as the King of Swords, like wise. You have a lot to give. Old Mother Hubbard, the king. These are established figures. You've been doing this for a long time. You've been consistently this kind of person, but then they've tried to keep you confused in your head. Well, am I really this kind of person? I keep having this problem and this problem. And they also are probably projecting, sending like little, confusion. I would be really aware of your sleep. Protect yourself when you're sleeping before you go to sleep. Protect yourself when you're out and about, when you're going to be around people. And I heard this from a reader, I think it was today. Like, if you have to sage or you have to clear your air after being around somebody, you should not be around them. Like, it's like, if you can't avoid it, I get it. But we also make excuses. We're all adults here because this is YouTube, and you have to be an adult to be on this channel. And if you're not, hey, that's on you. I put it for adults only. And so we are responsible for whatever choices we make. If you're saying I have to be in my XYZ family person's life, why? Is that really true? I mean, so you're going to lose money? Well, that's a choice. So you're going to lose connections with the other family members. That's a choice. Because really, I've learned from experience that you let one thing go, and you let another thing go, and you hear that somebody's talking about you behind your back and saying different things about your character and little snide remarks, and you let it go, and you let it go, and you let it go. But that builds to the point where you didn't say anything, therefore that became the narrative. That became who you were in these people's eyes. And so you may never actually be able to get your reputation back in this group, in your family, in a partnership, in a friend group. You may never, because they have done at every point to cover for their own covert narcissism. They have sullied your name. And so there's really, and because you are a nice person, you just let it go. You don't want to make a big deal out of it, blah, 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 But since you didn't stand up, that became this established story. And I'm not saying you can't fix that, but if it's your goal to fix it, you'll just look defensive, and you'll just look like, oh yeah, of course of course you're going to say that, because they have spent all this time doing that. So going forward, don't beat yourself up. But going forward, if you're getting that feeling or you're making a choice, you do not have to be friends with people. That's one thing I've learned over the years. I used to really be like, oh, but I've been this person's friend, or I've been I'm this person's child, or I'm a sibling, or I'm a cousin, or XYZ. But I got to the point where I was like, I am not, my love, who I am is not charity. So if someone doesn't want it and they repeatedly mischaracterize me, or, do something that's not reputable, my cutoff game is strong. It's like, you will all of a sudden be getting the rainbows and the love, and the next minute it will be like it didn't exist ever. Because I don't need I remove the energy. It's gone. It's like boom. And that's what I'm seeing here. Unless you're going to extend a bridge, it won't exist. So you have complete and utter control of this. Yes, it's going to be painful. Yes, like you have to be willing to feel the pain. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to really cut off the energy, because you can still cut off somebody and spend more time, more energy having them in your head, going back over things. That is not cutting off the energy. They still have that bridge. They still have that connection. So if people are showing up over and over again, I had this funny dream, and a person I've been dealing with lately, they showed up, and I knew it wasn't a dream because I was having a conversation with them, and I called them on some stuff, and I started dictating what I was saying and when things were happening, and then I woke up and went straight back to it and continued back where I was and finished up what I was doing. So if you can't connect with these people, you can also do a liminal or a dream interchange where you take control of it. You tell them exactly, you cut it off, and don't feel bad to banish people from your energy. I don't. Bye. It's like, and some people are seeing you like that. The siren is not considered a positive thing by a lot of people. They consider mermaids sirens, and they were actually feared because they were saying they were calling to the sea captains to have their ships go into stormy waters so that the sea captain's ship would drown and become a part of the sea, and that this was some kind of unhealthy thing. But female energy speaking, expressing, not male, like female, like feminine energy, not male or female, is about that vocalization, is about telling the truth, is about expression. And a lot of people, when they don't want that in their lives, it's a sign that they don't want the truth, that they don't want to really live in a healthy way. If they're vilifying speaking, if they're vilifying feelings, this reminds me of in Titanic, that necklace. I don't even remember what it was, what kind of stone it was, but it's just like, that's all he cared about at the end, was just that jewel, not her. And so if you're not being valued for the jewel you are, if you're being seen as like this thing that would, cause people harm with your words, you're not in the right company, and you don't need to be there. Let's see if there's anything else that I got. So I just want to ask you, is being nice working for you? Is being nice working? Because if you're not around people who are nice, you're not being nice. You are actually you're being avoidant. So like, if people are being nice to you and you're being nice to them and everything's nice, that's a relationship. That's symbiosis. But if someone is not being nice, whether to your face or behind your back, they're not being nice. And so that you being nice is actually avoiding dealing with the problem. And so we mischaracterize niceties versus avoidance. And avoidance is just going to get you in a whole bunch of trouble. So let's see if there's anything else that wants to come out. I'm just going to see So when you're making peace, who are you making peace? I want you to ask yourself, whom is that for? Like, is that for you? Do you feel better when you avoid, when you just let something go? Or are you making peace for others so that they feel comfortable, so that they don't see you as the siren? Another word for siren is nag. The B word. I don't swear on here. I try not to. So I'm not judging you. I just don't do it on here. So the truth and the siren. Yeah, I mean, these are exactly the same. Like, the truth is being seen as something bad. like as a siren speech, when it's actually the truth. It gives light. It gives, I mean, when was the last time we really heard music that was truthful, that was a siren's call, that was that beauty that brought forward feelings? Now it's all formulaic. They've actually spliced it so much. They've put it in chunks versus waves, which is, you know, the way music used to be. And so it doesn't have the same resonance. So, you know, spend more time singing. Even if you think you can't sing, sing in private. Sing as much as you can, because you need to hear a voice. If you have people around you, have them sing. If there's children, animals, sing to them. Sing, like really be present for live music, people speaking, because all this stuff that's been happening too is changing the way that we intake information. So yes, the Ace of Wands. And so I love this because at the beginning you had the Knight of Wands, and now you have the Ace of Wands. So like this person or you are showing up, or this information came in, and you're taking this information. You're moving out of this confused feeling and moving away from this deception and moving forward. This is like the wand. This is the seed. This is what brings it forward, because you are speaking. It's your ruby. It's your essence, your truth. Your truth is the next step. And we were talking about it at the beginning, gardens. This is the seed. It's going to grow because it's free of weeds. It's free of distractions. It's free of people who are causing these problems. These deceptive ass people. I hate them. I like really do. I don't have to be nice anymore. Mean people suck. And deceptive people are so much worse. But you know, you still have the truth here. Have your faith. And I also like this crystal today was the crystal that I was drawn to. And this is a very special crystal. I won't go into it right now, but it's a very special crystal. And this is like your seed right here. This is the essence of you moving forward and bringing this forward. To me, this looks like a dagger also. So you can also use this to protect yourself. So use the truth, you know, use it wisely. A small bit of truth, that truth that just cuts right to the thing is like, ooh, it's like chef's kiss. When you hold back, because I want you, before you respond, I want you to take a few minutes. I want you to reread everything. I want you to take a few minutes, because something's going to come to you, and it's going to be that little bit of truth. It's going to be something, a statement, some kind of truth, and it's going to come through. But you need to ground yourself and not be reactive, but actually, you know, respond. So, okay. I'm going to, and it's the weirdest thing. So I come up here and I look at the fan, and it has a thermostat on it, and it's at 71 degrees. And I'm like, oh, it's nice. And it increased up to 77 degrees in a few minutes, and nothing changed outside. It's actually getting later in the day, so it should be cooler. This has been consistently happening. I think this is actually a protection for you guys, because something is keeping everything really warm around you to keep out, kind of like a fire at the gates. You know, that's in things like Papa Legba and some other deities, that they can light fires at the gates to keep you safe and to keep the other things out. And that can feel really intense for you. Also, but if you're feeling some kind of physical symptoms and stuff, make sure you get checked by a doctor. I'm not a real doctor. I just play one on TV. So don't take my advice. You know, first I want you to make sure you check with a mental health professional, a medical professional, your own intuition. These are just readings. These are just advice. These are just little lessons on using your own intuition. But they are not in place of anything professional. So I don't know why I needed to say that, but I want to make sure that you're listening to yourself and actually getting appropriate treatment. So I saw 24 on the timer. And if this is not confirmation of something you already know, don't take this. This is not yours, because we don't all have these issues in our lives. This isn't always someone's story. This is a collective story. And just like every folk tale, every book you read is not your story. Neither of these are collective. I will be doing personal readings, so if you want something more personal, hey, let me know. And my email is in the description of the channel, so if you want to get a hold of me. So I'm going to ring a bell. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that one was intense. So I love you guys. Love you so, so much. Mwah. Oh, I don't know what I just said. Mwah. And I just saw 25 on the timer. So we're getting those synchronous numbers of sequence coming forward. So have a great weekend time whenever you see this, and I will see you soon. Bye. Again, put some koala emojis in the comments. Write comments, share, just show up for this story, subscribe, like, check out YouTube. I do some different readings on there sometimes that I don't put on here. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.